The day before already does humans. Like, and it's not great, but it's easily doable. It's shown that it's just, yeah, meh.
Yeah, the blueprint for humans exists in every single game that has humans.
Yeah. The concept of doing dinosaurs right, there's nothing there. There are, meant doing humans for getting all the dinos in? Well, their base structure exists, so it's not hard. We're not doing anything that's going to be excessive anymore when it comes to the animals. Like, there's burrowing and I think like 2 other things that are major for the animals, and then like every dinosaur you see after that, in some way, shape, or form, will have shades of another type of dinosaur's playstyle and functionality, you know? Like this guy. He pounces. There's going to be other dinosaurs that do that. There are going to be other dinosaurs that can grab onto even other dinosaurs and then drag them to the ground and kill them, which is basically what this guy does. It's a different set of animations. You obviously want to give them a flair, their own sounds, so they sound different, but generally speaking, that's what they do. But, like, humans, you can just kind of go, all right, well, when we work on humans, insert, like, every survival formula here that does the same thing. It's pretty much set. You loot and scoot. You know? You loot and scoot. But no, dinosaurs, there's no blueprint on getting them right. And of course, they're going to take the longest time. Like, we built them one time, didn't like it. And I mean that in the sense of, like, the legacy version of the game. It didn't work out. It very clearly didn't work out. And anyone who wants to tell you that legacy is better in terms of gameplay is just flat delusional. There is no argument for it, because there is no interactivity in the legacy version of the game. And if you wish to die on that hill, well, we will forget you and you will not be mourned. But after the more complicated, you know, like, it's this guy. Yeah. You get climbing done. Okay, cool. Other dinosaurs can climb. This general functionality is finished. Ooh, what do you got for humans that do stuff like this? There's not. And we do not have any blueprints to pull from. I can't just go, hey, what dinosaur game has done this thing and done it well? Because the answer is non-existent. There are very few dinosaur games you can even look at to pull even the slightest bit of inspiration from, because they just aren't great. Like, the dinosaur category inside of games is grossly underrepresented, grossly lacking content. You know, reduced growth rate and slower resource drains? Reduced growth rate maybe, but I probably wouldn't do slower resource drains. And then there's all the little things that you have to do with it, right? So if we, let me get over here. Let me just cheat my way down. That'll work. So these are like the small things, like all the millions of little things that go wrong when you add something, and it's just, ugh. All right, so he looks up, and when your dinosaur looks up, obviously your head turns up. But in the case of this, when you need to look up in order to travel, now our Herrerasaurus looks directly backwards, so you have to fix the small things like that. Like, oh, the stuff that normally works on animals, like, oh, you've introduced something new, it's going to break a lot of things. You have to have this permanent state alteration of how your dinosaur looks around now. But on the bright side, we get to do it once and then it's finished. Actually, you know what? Let me send those to Bruce. We've got one of them prepared. You'll see in a second. Hold on. So these are the various glance sheets that have already been pre-assembled by TAP that could technically go inside of Phase 3. We obviously should probably say, hey, don't be jerks with this. But, you know, that never really stops anyone from being a little turd. Yeah, I was going to be doing that later on today, but since someone's brought it up, I'll just have Punch do it now. You want to know the worst part about humans, though? is that it's really difficult to judge what's going to happen. Because I'm truthfully not sure if, and I say the average, because don't get me wrong, there is very crappy people that are always seeking to play survival games just to ruin the fun of others. It's not exclusive to the Isle. It's just the average human being who wasn't popped in the mouth and told stop being a shitty person. So you're going to get those, but I'm not sure how the average individual is going to handle the fact that this is, I think, the only... If I'm wrong, someone feel free to point out another game that does it, but I don't know of any survival games where you play as humans and something else that might promote humans to globally cooperate in some way, shape, or form. Who knows if humans are just going to murder each other on sight, or they're just going to be like, oh, thank God, another human being, Jesus. Asking people on the internet to cooperate is a tall order, which is actually ridiculous when you think about it. Case in point, go find out how well Shia LaBeouf fared against the internet when the man just wanted to raise a flag. Alright, let me know how well that went for him, because the internet decided to cooperate. Like, come on now. I plan for possibilities, and the truth is that's very possible that things like that will happen. Tarkov survival for humans would have been cool, like a drop-in, do mission, and then leave. Could you imagine if it was just like, oh, here's the consistent server, you only get to, like, direct connect and play as dinosaurs. If you want to play as a human, you have to, like, get into a lobby-based system that selects servers that are otherwise whitelisted as eligible for it, and then you drop in and do stuff. It was a thought. It did go through the design team. It was discussed. It was executed. And it was executed with sadness. Because I was sitting there going, man, this would be so fun, but I really don't want to design around this. I want to get on with the sandbox. There's sadly too many extraction games. That has nothing to do with it. Like, that has nothing to do with the decision of wanting to, like, try that style. It's a fun style. It doesn't matter if there's a bunch of crappy ones. What matters is, are there a bunch of good ones? Are there a bunch of looter shooters that are so good it's spreading the population of people who enjoy that type of game far too thinly? Because the answer is no. No, they're not. Like, the formula of extraction shooters hasn't even been done to the point that it can be appropriately left alone. You constantly have resets in, like, Tarkov, which is the king of looter shooters, or extraction shooters, rather. Like... Don't be silly. That's just preposterous. It would be like saying that there's now too many dinosaur games. Like, is there really? No, there's not. There's not enough dinosaur games. There's certainly not enough quality dinosaur games either. It just has the issue of, like, general uniqueness and or being good. Let's see. Is the Carnotaurus a candidate for theropod sparring? Absolutely not. No, the Isle will not reach AAA. It will not reach AAA. It will never expand to that size. I do not want it to expand to that size. I am not expanding it to that size. That is my choice of how I wish to run the thing that I own. I am not expanding to that size and level of management. I'm not. You're not going to get, you know, little baby Bethesda over here. It's not happening. Ugh, his little vomit needs help. Yeah, I already don't have a life because of this game. I'm not expanding this to the point that it's just consumed me more than it already has.
What do you mean because of this game?
Oh, don't start a joke that's going to roll into something you regret. And that's going to be a joke that's going to roll into something you regret, so I wouldn't.
I gotcha.
Your Lord and Savior Albertosaurus on an official capacity comes after Allosaurus. That's the only thing I can tell you about Albertosaurus. So Allo comes after who? Hold on. I just looked and I am not telling you because I do not need that reaction. Actually, that's not too incorrect. In the original lineup, Allosaurus and Camarasaurus were going to try and come out together around the same time. So, you know, yeah, y'all are just making up shit. Sometimes you're right.
Hey, to be fair, when you throw enough theories at the wall, eventually something's gonna stick. Like, statistically speaking.
Yeah, like when someone guessed how Westworld was supposed to go, and instead of Westworld getting that amazing story, they decided to rewrite it because the public's not allowed to figure it out first. And then we got whatever Westworld became. Because I tell you now, I stopped after I think season 3. Whenever it introduced Aaron Paul and the magic guessing machine out in the middle of the desert. Good lord.
Didn't Game of Thrones also do that to a degree? I recall them changing a bunch of stuff because people guessed it on like forums and whatnot.
Well, the Jon Stark, or I'm sorry, the Jon Snow actually being Lyanna Stark's son was something that was guessed like before the show existed. It was just a theory of the books. To my knowledge, it was that HBO offered X amount of money and several more seasons to the two dudes that were running the show. However, they got that sweet, sweet Star Wars deal. So they were like, hey, let's wrap this up and get on to Star Wars. So you got...
in the process, they got their canned from Star Wars.
Yep. Which is dumb. You know what? Like, Rian Johnson has some pretty good movies. But... damn, when he misses, like with Star Wars. Yeah, that's how you know Game of Thrones botched it. That thing, like, culturally erased itself. That's an impressive thing, like, to just be like, yeah, you can't find anything on Game of Thrones anymore, really.
So while it's a shame they ruined Game of Thrones, at least they've now kind of shown to other companies that they can't be trusted.
I think I have this on. Yeah, hold on. Yeah, I do.